And Lauren, there was one man arrested in connection with this terrible crash. As you mentioned, he remains in custody here at the Kaufman County Jail. He is facing 5 counts of manslaughter and 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. His name, Alexi Osmani Gonzalez Campuñani. He is 27 years old. On Saturday afternoon, investigators say the suspect fell asleep behind the wheel of the 18-wheeler he was driving and crashed into several vehicles, including 2 other big rigs. Inside a Ford F-150, there were 5 occupants. 4 of them were killed. The 5th was airlifted to the hospital, expected to survive. A passenger in a Jeep Compass also killed. We are still trying to get the names of the people who died in the crash. Several other individuals were injured as well. The big rig driver now in custody, being held here on a $1.5 million bond. Live at the Kaufman County Jail, Dan Godwin on Good.
A nonprofit rescue center dedicated to rehabilitating and releasing injured or orphaned wildlife is now working hard to find a new home. The North Texas Wildlife Center has grown so much in recent years it needs a larger space than the current one it's in Plano. The city has given them 60 days to find a new spot, or they may be forced to close their doors. Fox 4's Lori Brown joins us live with that story. Hey, Lori.
Casey, when someone finds an injured or orphaned wild animal like a turtle, a duck, or a bunny, the North Texas Wildlife Center is the go-to place for help. But now they are the ones in need of rescue.
This little guy came in as a sibling set.
Mela Singleton, founder of North Texas Wildlife Center, showed us one of their newest rescues.
Then this guy is being tube-fed formula. So he's doing great, and we expect for this one a full recovery.
We rescue, rehab, and release wildlife with the goal of getting them back into the wild. They're not friendly, they're not pets, they're not staying with us. We want them to recover and go back out there to fulfill their ecological value.
Rebecca Hamlin is president of the 501c3 and one of about 50 volunteers.
We've had over 2,548 animals come in since January 1st, which puts us at a 50% increase compared to this time last year.
While the organization's expansion is a good thing for the wild,
opossums, raccoons, cottontail squirrels, skunks, waterfowl, so egrets, herons, blue jays, owls, hawks.
All the increased traffic and street parking that comes along with the growth is not good for the neighborhood. And while the center has a permit, the city of Plano says they can no longer operate in the residential zoning.
And they said typically we would give 13 days to vacate, but we see what you're doing and we appreciate you. We're going to give you 60 days. So the city of Plano has been really generous, and they're giving us 60 days to find a new place to call our home, which is really scary, but I'm confident that with community support we can make it happen.
Hamlin says the Wildlife Center serves a key role in society, both for wildlife and humans.
People don't know about wildlife rehab until they need it. We've had people bring us baby skunks, and they are like, I hated skunks, but I found this baby and he was so cute and I needed to save him, and they have this emotional response.
The Wildlife Center provides a way for people to know they helped someone helpless, like these tiny opossums whose mom had ingested rat poison.
Residents saw her in the driveway, pulled those babies out of the pouch because the pouch is insulated, and those babies were saved because a Good Samaritan had no chance until someone picked him up and said, I see you and I want to help you.
Saving an opossum is what changed everything for Hamlin.
I have suffered from depression and stuff like that, and when I started rehabbing wildlife, I told Mela that I rehabbed wildlife to save them, and they saved me.
You may wonder how all of these little ones raised on a bottle here can learn how to be wild. In the hit movie Wild Robot, Bright Bill had to be taught how to fly. Well, it turns out for these wild animals, it's all instinctual.
Wildlife are hardwired for these things, and we can't take it away from them. As long as they're not injured and they have an environment conducive to recovery, they will do really well. And there are wildlife heroes every single day that come to North Texas Wildlife Center, and we can't stop here. This is not where it ends for us. This is where it starts.
The city of Plano told us in a statement that the facility appears to be well run and managed, that their only issue is that it violates their zoning ordinance. Hamlin says that their new place needs to be in a central location, so if someone has an injured animal, they can get it to expert care quickly. They also need outdoor space, so something like a former daycare with a playground or a church would be ideal. Casey.
Who knew, though, but the work they do is certainly important. Hopefully they can find a new home so they don't have to close altogether. Fox 4's Lori Brown live for us on this Sunday. Lori, thanks for being here. Environmental groups are trying to block President Trump's Alligator Alcatraz plan. The court fight comes as Florida is converting an abandoned airport into a detention center capable of holding up to 5,000 ICE detainees. Here's Fox's Madison Scarpino.
Alligator Alcatraz is set to start housing illegal immigrants as soon as Tuesday, but the groups who filed this new lawsuit say that officials did not look into the environmental aspects, and they're trying to pause construction while they still can. Protesters lining the highways Saturday. They were right by the new detention center, waving signs and chanting just days before the planned opening.
You know, to give them this is just unacceptable. Our demands are to leave the Everglades, to leave this land as it be.
It's not good for the water, it's not good for the wildlife and the habitats. Why is it here?
But officials say it's not going to impact the environment. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin told Fox Digital the lawsuit is, quote, lazy, saying the land has already been developed for a decade. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis gave Fox an exclusive look at the migrant detention center. It will be a hub for deportations that will also house detainees and process their legal cases. It's on a 30-mile property. It's a former training base and already has an airstrip for deportation. Governor DeSantis says Alligator Alcatraz is going to be extremely secure.
There will be some very dangerous criminal aliens that get processed through here. But if for some reason someone would be able to get out, where are you going to go? You going to dodge alligators for 50 miles to try to get to? No, it's not going to happen. So this is basically as secure as it gets.
The facility will cost around $450 million a year, and it's FEMA who will be reimbursing Florida for those funds. I'm Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
Well, this is going to be very close, but Republicans may have the votes they need to get this done in the Senate today, as Democrats have only been able to delay it.
In fiscal year 2026.
One Senate clerk began to lose her voice after she and her colleagues were forced to read the entire 940-page Big Beautiful Bill.
$66 million.
On and on it went, though, part of a delaying tactic by Democrats to slow down this cornerstone of the president's agenda, finally wrapping up after some 16 hours.
So the debate and eventual voting on the Big Beautiful Bill has begun. Hallelujah.
But in the hours of debate that followed, Democrats lit into the bill, which would, among other things, extend tax cuts from the president's first term, reduce spending on Medicaid through new work requirements, and ramp up spending on defense.
Like most horror movies, the sequel tends to be worse.
If we don't get this done, there is an automatic tax increase coming at the end of the year, and none of us want that.
Keeping tabs on every move was the president, who excoriated holdout Republicans concerned about entitlement reductions and cautioned fiscal conservatives who have been holding out for steeper cuts.
You also have to get elected. You know, when you do cutting, you have to be a little bit careful, because people don't like necessarily cutting if they get used to something.
Now, assuming this passes the Senate today, the House still has to sign off on all of the changes that the Senate made. And if all goes as planned for Republicans, that process could begin in the House on Wednesday. In Washington, I'm Doug Luzader for Good Day.
Well, the president says he does not plan to extend the 90-day pause on tariffs across the world.
That deadline's going to expire, is set to expire next Wednesday, July 9th. President Trump says he will send letters to 90 different countries explaining his administration's final offers. He says those tariffs will be on a case-by-case basis, some as low as 10%, others as high as 50%.